Medusa holds the blood-red long sword, with its edge pointing at Xiao Yan. Her slender eyes is filled with killing intent. Just as Medusa is about to stab Xiao Yan with the sword, Yao Lao appears to save him. Although Yao Lao is only a soul now, after all, he was once a peak expert in Central State, and Medusa's vision and foundation can't hold a candle to his. I know your present situation, and you don't have to be so murderous in front of me, says Yao Lao indifferently with a calm look. He makes it clear that Medusa is not a match for him before she fused the sky-swallowing python. Really? Medusa asks sarcastically, but while she is speaking, she put on a serious look. She is aware that Xiao Yan is guarded by a strong man, but she doesn't expect that this strong man is a soul. What Medusa dreads more is that the person's soul state gives her a sense of oppression that she has never felt. His aura is even stronger than that of Yunshan. If he is in the peak state, his strength might be beyond Dozone. Mindful of this, Medusa's face becomes more dignified. However, even the appearance of Yao Lao is not enough to soothe her anger. Glancing at Xiao Yan with cold eyes, Medusa continues. I made an agreement with him to keep him safe in the hands of Yunshan on the condition that he helped me to refine the soul-melting elixir, but he completely forgot it. Thinking of this, Medusa grits her teeth with anger. Xiao Yan has not even begun to collect the medicinal materials used, let alone refining the soul-melting elixir. Xiao Yan shivers when he senses the cold and murderous feeling toward him. He has difficulties of his own. Every time Medusa shows up, she always gives him a faint feeling that she's hostile to him. If he really delivers the soul-melting elixir to Medusa, his frigging life will be at stake. Before Xiao Yan explains, Yao Lao has helped his disciples get away. If you didn't mean to kill him, my disciple would be very happy to look for medicinal materials for you. The sophisticated Yao Lao passes the buck to Medusa. On hearing this, Medusa frowns, and a scarlet cyclone emerges all over her body. Her exquisite and beautiful eyes are fixed on the old man in front of her, but due to the strength of the old man, Medusa does not offend him openly. In that case, give me the prescription of soul-melting elixir. Medusa chooses to make a compromise and leave after she getting the soul-melting elixir. Then she stretches out her hand. Seeing Medusa's behavior, Old Medicine strokes his beard with a smile and responds blandly, this can't be done. The prescription is obtained by Xiao Yan through the medicine refining meeting. How can I give it to you? With a bang, the rock under Medusa's feet burst open. Yao Lao's words completely irritates her. In particular, Yao Lao's natural expression makes Medusa tremble with anger. She waves her left arm suddenly, and the scarlet fighting spirit around her turns into a fierce wave, flapping towards Yao Lao. Feeling the strong and overwhelming danger, Yao Lao waves his sleeve, and a similar fierce air burst out to meet Medusa's attack. Two powerful forces collide in the mid-air on the top of the mountain and make a deafening noise. The layers of afterwaves spread in all directions, sending the surrounding rocks flying. Xiao Yan tries hard to summon fighting spirit to cover his whole body to prevent himself from being shaken away, but he is filled with shock. The Dozong strongman is so terribly formidable. If it weren't for Yao Lao, Medusa could have stabbed him to death with one finger. The first strike doesn't work. The silver sword in Medusa's hand is shining with coldness, the powerful sword intent surging out. When she is about to make a move, she feels a strong soul force in her body waking up, constantly invading her divine sense, and vaguely about to seize the control of her body. The sudden change in her body staggers Medusa. She stops moving forward and turns her strength to suppress the backbite of the sky-swallowing python. Damn it! Medusa curses. Her attack on Xiao Yan causes a violent reaction of the sky-swallowing python. The latter even makes a suicide attack on her regardless of its weak body. With her eyes rolling, Medusa looks terrible. She knows that even if she suppresses the soul of the sky-swallowing python, she would pay a heavy price, and she would never be able to fight against Yao Lao again. The disordered breath of Medusa does not escape the sharp perception of Yao Lao. With a short moment of pondering, he figures it out. It is not too difficult for Yao Lao to suppress Medusa in this state. After a pause, Yao Lao put forward a new suggestion. As long as Medusa gives up her killing intention to Xiao Yan and promises to protect him for a year, Yao Lao promises to present soul-melting elixir to her after a year. Hearing this, Medusa is pissed off and refuses without thinking. She has been cheated to be a free thug and to be a bodyguard for the bad boy for a year. Dream on. Seemingly sensing the intense emotional fluctuation of Medusa, the python in her body breaks out with more powerful force, trying to seize the control of the body. The rampage of the sky-swallowing python renders Medusa, who is about to speak out, motionless. She goes all out to make the fighting spirit work, trying to calm the violent aura in her body. Yao Lao's face is dignified as ever. He looks at Medusa with a wary look, instead of taking advantage of Medusa's difficulties to attack her. A strong Dozong fighter's counterattack is unimaginable. The valley under the night fell into an eerie silence. and the two sides are at loggerheads. Although both Yaolao and Medusa have restrained their breath, Xiao Yan is still a little breathless from the overwhelming power of the Dozong's strongman. He clenches his fists and uses his fighting spirit to cover his whole body, so that he will not be broken down by the power. On Medusa's side, her whole body is filled with demon red light, and the color on her delicate pretty face comes and goes. She makes a few attempts to suppress the sky-swallowing python but fails. On the contrary, her own breath gradually withers, and her bright forehead is sweating. Finally, after the gathered power is scattered by the sky-swallowing python again, Medusa lets out an imperceptible sigh. Then she looks at Yaolao with angry eyes and says reluctantly, "Okay, it's up to you." After a pause, Medusa deliberately raises her tone and threatens in a cold voice, "But if you trick me again, I will make you suffer at the cost of sky-swallowing python's reaction." While talking, Medusa gives Xiao Yan a special look. The coldness and murderous feeling makes him tremble, and in his mind, Medusa has long been a femme fatale. There is no denying that this enchanting woman has a perfect appearance that can drive all men in the world crazy. The long skirt with red silk and black lace on her exquisite and curvy figure make her stunning. Even if Xiao Yan is in danger of life at this time, he couldn't control the lust in his heart. However, just thinking of Medusa's ruthlessness, Xiao Yan takes a few steps back, keeping a distance from her. Hearing Medusa's promise, Yaolao nods with a smile and says, "I will give you the soul-melting elixir within a year." Then Yaolao's calm face flashes a shade of coldness, and he adds in a deep voice, "I hope your majesty will not be as murderous as last time. Otherwise, I will burn your body that takes you much effort to evolve." While talking, Yaolao opens his right palm, and a white flame jumps out. At the moment when the flame emerges, the temperature of the whole space suddenly rises. Strange fire. At the moment when she sees the flame in Yaolao's hand, Medusa trembles slightly. The flame in front of her arouses her painful memory of Qinglian earth fire. She knows the terrible power of the strange fire after experiencing it. However, after a short period of trance, Medusa soon regains her composure. "As long as you don't break the rules again, I will certainly keep my promise." With that, Medusa's figure turns illusory, and finally changes back to the shape of a small snake. Seeing Medusa's departure, Xiao Yankai takes a sigh of relief, making him feel like a survivor of a disaster. However, when Xiao Yan looks at Yaolao again, there are both gratefulness and inexplicably mixed feelings in his eyes. He does not expect Yaolao can be somewhat helpless sometimes. A far-fetched reason can make him fall into Medusa's trap and sign a new contract for no reason. Xiao Yan's expression has told Yaolao what is on Xiao Yan's mind. He barks at Xiao Yan and urges him to go to practice. Xiao Yankai suddenly comes to his sense and hurriedly takes out the geocentric milky crystals, trying to use it to strike the fighting spirit realm. Under the guidance of Yaolao, Xiao Yan's process of absorbing the geocentric milky crystals goes well. During this period, although Xiao Yan experiences the extreme pain of fracturing his body, washing the marrow and cutting the bone, it also brings great benefits to him. The fighting spirits in Xiao Yan's body has multiplied, which allows him to break through the bottleneck of the fighting master and successfully enters the level of fighting soul. Xiao Yan, who wakes up from the cultivation, shakes hands excitedly. Xiao Yan feels the change of strength in his body, his face full of joy. He has gained a lot from his 3 months of practice in the mountains. Now it's time to go back to the inner courtyard. However, during Xiao Yan's hard training, Pan Sect encounters another misfortune. Bai Gang, at the behest of Lu Qing, targets at Pan Sect, intentionally or unintentionally causing trouble to its members, disrupting the sales of pills there, or forcibly interrupting the cultivation of its disciples. Hu Jia is furious that he goes to argue with the members of the White Sect, but ends up getting beaten by the fighting spirit strongman of the White Sect till he vomits blood. Sooner and Wu Hao burst into a fiery rage after knowing about this. They collect the Pan Sect disciples to ask the White Sect for an explanation. Wu Hao, known as the Blood Shura, has fought all the way from the dead and never put a curb on his temper. After breaking into the White Sect, he points at Bai Chang with a huge scarlet sword and challenges him. Bai Chang finally see this moment coming. He deliberately offended the Pan Sect, causing the conflict between them to lead to a bloody conflict. Bai Chang appears calm, but in fact, he is very excited. On the challenge arena, Bai Chang's attack is extremely vicious. Every time the silver gun with the power of thunder and lightning shoots out, it charges at Wu Hao's bullseye. With the suppression of the state, Bai Chang soon leaves fierce wounds on Wu Hao, and the blood gushed out. In the face of Wu Hao, who has a weak breath, Bai Chang has no intention of stopping. His cold eyes flash with ferocity and he is ready to end Wu Hao's life. At the crucial juncture, Sooner makes an appearance on the challenge arena like a ghost and breaks Bai Chang's attack. At this moment, Sooner is burning with anger, fixing her cold eyes on Bai Chang. Her pure face shows a rare anger. Her figure begins to slowly suspend. The 3000 green silk like a waterfall breaks away from her hairband and comes loose. The light blue long skirt dances in the air. After she uses the secret skill, Sooner's breath is growing at an unbelievable speed. Bai Chung stares at the pure girl in front of him in amazement. His eyes are full of disbelief. As a 6th-class fighting spirit, he feels a bit of fear on Sooner, which makes him flinch. Just when Sooner is ready to make a move and leave an unforgettable lesson to Bai Chang, Xiao Yan urges 3000 thunderbolts to arrive. He has known about the conflict from the Pan sect disciples who stay behind, and he makes it to the scene as quickly as possible. Today, he is determined to get it even with Bai Chang and things between them.